Hello, David Ritzy for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Yeah, you're not seeing things. He's back. He's better than ever. Luke Taggart.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Good. How about you?
You been good?
Yeah. How about you?
I've been actually really well.
Nice.
Yeah, like there's good and then there's like really well. And I've been really well since the last time you and I did one of these videos. We're not doing them all in a row, which is kind of nice. And you look like you've grown a little bit more scruff since our last video, but you've certainly changed your shirt. What shirt are you wearing today?
This is the Orlebar Brown toweling from Dr. No.
Wow, I like it.
In like a maroon plum.
I like it. I'm going old school.
Yep.
This is, of course, the Sunspell Riviera.
I almost put that on. I should have.
It's a good thing you didn't, although we could have been twinsing. And for my watch today, I'm still sticking with it. For a very specific reason, my Tomorrow Never Dies Omega. And I see that you've got kind of
I changed. This is
watch.
a vintage, I think 1967 Speedmaster automatic.
Ooh.
Very similar to the Don Draper. It's got those kind of crosshairs going across the face.
I like it.
Thank
Well, listen, you and I have had some pretty philosophical conversations about Bond and style. We're going to weave these together today.
Okay.
I want to talk about a little bit about the evolution of Bond style, because I think it has gone through an evolution, and I want to test these theories, so you're going to help be my sounding board. But if you think about Bond style happening all the way back in the 60s, of course, people were following Bond. They were dressing in raincoats that you could buy that look like Bond. But I think that there is a very defensible thing to say that at the advent of the internet, when people were doing blogs like the ones I was doing on Rembert's site, James Bond Lifestyle, and then obviously when YouTube became popular, that the Bond lifestyle went from a whisper to an explosion of people following it. And now today, you've got all types of people from different backgrounds, whether they're economical backgrounds, genders, religions, races, creeds, it doesn't matter. People follow the Bond lifestyle. And I want to talk a little bit about why this may be. You ready for this?
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time, Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty.
No,
it's gotta
I
be
beat
me.
you
I
to
got
it.
the scruff.
So I purposely wore these two items to kick this off, because for me, I've got a couple of, I'll call them impact moments.
Okay.
There were moments in my journey of Bond lifestyle that really sent it into the stratosphere. Number one, 2006 Casino Royale. We have to say it. I mean, Daniel Craig did look like Pierce Brosnan. I never looked like Pierce Brosnan, but I've tried to emulate his style.
Yeah.
But when Daniel Craig came along, I said, hey, there's kind of a regular looking Joe, and he's wearing a polo, and you can actually acquire the polo. And I could pair that with something, and this watch is my next jumping off point. When I bought this watch after seeing Tomorrow Never Dies, it suddenly made me, these two things made me incredibly interested in the whole idea of capturing the Bond lifestyle on a more regular basis.
Yeah.
Do you have moments like that?
Absolutely. GoldenEye was my first.
Okay.
I wanted the GoldenEye watch since I was a kid. I think it's a little difficult to dress like Bond when you're like 8, 9 years old. But
Is that how old you were?
Probably.
Wow.
Yeah. And then as time went on, yes, I think similarly, Casino Royale was like huge for me to just start, because there was a lot of casual looks, the Sunspell polo and the chinos, and just, it was easy to kind of emulate, or even like the very, very, very dark blue lin or silk. Is it silk or lin? I think it's silk, isn't it? That he wears playing poker.
Silk. Yeah.
Yeah, with like the slacks. It's like, these are things like, that's right there. You can wear both of those to work. You can wear the Sunspell pretty much anywhere. I was like, this is not only is it more obtainable because I have a job, but I was like, this is easy to replicate.
Yeah.
And like that, you can buy the Sunspell.
Yeah, and you've done whole videos on the Sunspell and why that attracted so many people. But I think for me too, the other thing is looking at Bond, especially with Daniel Craig, and I'll throw in Pierce Brosnan with this too, the way they were impeccably dressed. I think even at a younger age than certainly I am now, I needed a template. I needed a guide.
Yes.
And so many times, I mean, people say, oh, this newfangled Bond lifestyle. Every generation have utilized people like Paul Newman or Marlon Brando or a slew of different individuals to emulate and say, you know something, I'm not
Steve
going to
McQueen.
replicate Steve McQueen,
Yeah.
but I'm going to try to get close. And I think Daniel Craig and his style pulled us in
Yeah.
to that whole journey.
Yeah, I think Daniel Craig's Bond style will kind of turn into a Steve McQueen, Paul Newman down the. I mean, it's
Classic?
like it is
Yeah.
for us already. But I mean, what was it? GQ or Esquire said the Skyfall outfit was
I think it was Esquire.
best of what, a century or
Yeah, something like that.
You know, it's. I mean, But in fairness, Daniel Craig's personal style is very influenced by Paul Newman and Steve McQueen.
Right.
So he was very heavy-handed with costuming for Bond. They worked together a lot. So yeah, I mean, he's creating a classic style from influence of even further back classic style.
But I think that the reason we're chasing Bond and the Bond lifestyle and why it's become more popular is because people see Bond as a more approachable individual. When Roger Moore was walking around, he would wear a tuxedo in a casino. Same with Sean Connery.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very relatable
Yeah.
to us. Suddenly we've got Bonds, you know, a little bit with Brosnan, but then a lot with Daniel Craig, where he's wearing polos and chinos and jeans and chukka boots. And suddenly you don't have to wear that diamonds are forever tuxedo
Yep.
out on the town.
Yep. Makes sense. I mean, it's very easy to apply it to your everyday life because as much as we want to be Bond, I hate to break it to you,
Don't do it.
we're not.
Don't do it.
No.
I said don't do
But
it.
we're not. So it's like, you know, I think the number one thing, and being in David's collection, you really don't see many sartorial items until you get to Daniel Craig.
Right.
Very difficult to have either screen used or screen accurate from anybody before Pierce, even a little bit with Pierce. I mean, thank you Turnbull and Asser
Yeah, it's
for
true.
you know the shirts and ties, but other than that, and Brioni, but you know, even I love the leather jacket from Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah.
That's not something you can just go and buy. But
No.
with Craig, we know the brands, we know where to buy them, we know where to get them on sale, we know how to get them tailored.
Yeah.
It's not only can you replicate it because he'll wear a polo and chinos, but you can buy the actual thing.
So let's organize this discussion because we talked about relatability. Now what you're talking about is accessibility.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of the advent of course, the internet and threads and forums, but now YouTube channel and of course Instagram is the shareability of information. And you didn't have that in the 60s. You had ad campaigns and you had word of mouth. And even during the 70s when I was alive, and the 80s and the 90s when you were finally alive, easy there. And through the 2000s, information is easier to gather.
Yeah.
And so what's happening is you have this community, this Bond lifestyle community that want to share information.
Yeah.
They want to herald it out.
Yeah.
And to your point, then it makes it more accessible.
Yeah. I mean, something like AJB, even
Yeah,
if you,
yes.
somebody like me, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I'll even step away from AJB, even just with Instagram.
Yeah.
I know about 10 people personally where I can shoot a message and say, what is this? What is he
know
wearing
that.
in this scene? Where can I buy it? And do you have, you know, the new word dupes
Yeah.
for it? Something, not even if it's not a frugal dupe, something as close to it as possible, because I know this is hard to find. Then you can turn to an AJB if you're really looking to find that exact
Yes.
piece. I mean, the sharing of information, it's so much more accessible than ever, and it's only going to get more and more
Yeah.
accessible because then you've got brands like Royale Filmware, people making them, so it's uber easy to
Yeah.
get.
Yeah. If there's a gap, chances are like somebody like that does custom work will fill the gap. All right. So again, for all of you playing at home, we're theorizing. So we're putting facts behind this. We've got accessibility. We've got relatability. I'm going to throw one in now, and that we've got licensing, meaning I believe it's become more popular than ever because brands, luxury brands, and even mid-level brands have discovered that people want to live like Bond.
Yep.
Either through drinks, locations, watches, cars, and yes, clothing. And they want to wear it in their everyday lives, and it can become an invisible hobby. So it's not just to put it on the shelf. You can wear it in a boardroom for play.
Yep.
So let's talk about licensing and branding. To me, this hit a crescendo. I mean, shortly after, obviously through the Brosnan eras, I mean, you really saw it. But then Daniel Craig
Explosion.
exploded.
Yeah.
And now I think there's
Too many to count.
it's too many to
brand-wise.
count, and it's a coveted
Yes.
spot.
Yes.
To have a James Bond license, an official license, it's a coveted spot.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me, it introduced me to many brands I had never heard of.
Right.
And not that they're not storied brands or incredible brands. They're, based in the UK, or they're smaller, or something like RGT.
Yeah,
Incredible
just
brand.
great.
And it's like
The trucker jacket from.
ran by a husband and wife.
I know.
I actually went into a store in Columbus a few years ago and asked the guy, I said, "Do you have the RGT jacket?" He knew exactly who it was. Who handles everything of the business? This husband and wife couple. I mean, it's like
Amazing.
you're finding out about, and then you want to support that brand.
Yes,
Because you hear
exactly.
how accessible it is and how accessible they are. So yeah, I mean, it's turned me on to brands that I never would have purchased before, and then it's helped me maneuver from just the Navy Sunspell polo to maybe a Sunspell t-shirt or a Sunspell crew neck or Sunspell shoes or whatever it
just
may be.
Steamrolls, and that's the whole thing. The brands understand that if they take now the brands are smart, so they take the relatability, they take the shareability we just talked about, and then they make the accessibility.
Yep.
And then you have a perfect picture, because then you're not only engaging with the Bond aspect of what they have to offer. Suddenly, like Oliver Brown, you're shopping outside of the Bond aspects, and you're filling your closets. And I think, again, this popularity, and it sounds like it's drawn by money. It's not. It's drawn by passion to engage.
Yeah.
Which leads me to another very interesting one.
Oh.
Yeah. So I believe that a big portion of the Bond lifestyle being more engaging to people is because in this day and age, and I really saw it happen during COVID,
Yeah.
and then it's not stopped, is escapism.
Yes.
I believe that understanding the journeys and the stories of these brands and the Bond lifestyle and seeking it out in the smallest of ways, just even making yourself a nice cup of coffee, is an escape from the chaos
Of
and
everyday life. Yeah.
of the everyday life, and sometimes a very sad moments that we've had.
Yeah. I mean, I think the cup of coffee is a good one. You can emulate Bond in so many different ways.
Yeah, doesn't have to break the bank.
No, I mean, we even did a whole posthumous now Blunt Instruments podcast on Bond mannerisms, which was actually our highest, viewed video or episode, I should say.
But even with that, I mean, do you think that the escapism? I mean, that's why we see Bond movies.
Yeah.
Do you think the escapism is one that
24 of them.
has? Well, but I mean, do you think that's something that has caused this surge that people just want to
Yes.
have a
I mean,
moment?
things like COVID and and just everything. It seems like life kind of just has gotten harder.
Yeah.
COVID didn't help, and it's just everything's more money these days, and you have to spend more, but you don't make as much. And
Yeah.
it's like
Seems
you just
like more
wanna,
stress, more
you
pressure.
just want to enjoy life and seeing Bond films, and then even just it's like you think to yourself, got to go into work today. It's a Monday, but if you wear a suit that's inspired by Bond, you kind of stand a little taller, maybe.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my whole moniker of living like Bond one moment at a time is not to live a life of Bond lifestyle moments. It's to take those little moments and add them up. So if somebody, if you want to make a martini, a little thing of vodka, doesn't have to be in a fancy bar. You don't have to travel to a fancy place with fancy clothes. It's just having that moment and then separating yourself a little bit from yourself for a moment and putting yourself in the world of Bond.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of these brands that understand this and can provide that journey know that people like Luke and I, and probably if you're watching this, people like you,
100%.
we're kind of suckers for this.
Yeah.
We love this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same. I've talked about this many times, but like when Casino Royale came out, that was like, 2006?
Yeah.
So I was like starting to like date, and the way his kind of attitude is towards the end with Vesper and everything, and then I'd get dumped. I'd kind of be like, I'm gonna go watch Casino Royale.
Does that really happen?
Oh yeah, and it's just kind of like, no matter what the circumstance you're in, you can try to emulate Bond.
Did
and
you
it's
sort of
not
say,
like I'm
what
just,
would Bond do?
yeah, like I'm not running around trying to kill people or something, but lately. But it's kind of just like, I don't know, you can throw on the film and kind of get energized and then kind of get down and then kind of, leave either the theater or watching that film, be like, I'm going to hold my head up high, I'm going to wear a blue polo, I'm going to wear some chinos, and I'm going to live my life. I don't know. It's maybe it sounds dumb, but it's
No.
true. I've been doing it since I was 15.
It sounds, I guarantee there are at least a few people out there that are going, oh, this is problematic. You buy a watch, you look at a watch, you retail therapy and you feel better, or you go to a movie and you feel better. Folks,
No.
you need to find in this life that we live in anything to feel better. Anything. And it's fine if you dress in something or look at a watch or go to see a movie and you suddenly feel better and it lifts your spirits.
Yeah.
That's what we're about. You have to have a certain amount of self-love. And I think also when you do it together, like we've done, and a large community of people have done this together, you can kind of lift all the spirits together.
Can I ask you, are you a retail therapy guy? I feel like you're not.
I'm not.
I'm not either. I'm not either. I mean, I
I know people that do it, but
I get a kick out of like if my wife and I are going on a date and I throw together a Bond outfit. It's not about, that makes me happy in that sense. It's not like I bought this today and now I'm a happy person. And then when I wear it, it's just like whatever. No, it's the wearing. And it's not even if it is Orlebar or NPL or Sunspell. It's just like, I feel just, I'm holding my head up higher. I'm standing up taller. It's just,
you nailed it.
It's a thing. It's
You nailed it.
It's a vibe.
I would say this. I would say that I'm an experienced therapy guy, just like you are.
Yes.
It's the experience of doing those things or living the Bond lifestyle that gives me my therapeutic moments.
Yeah.
Not a purchase.
Yeah, me too.
It's just
me
not.
too.
Luke, thank you for exploring this with me.
Oh, God, anytime.
This is good. These are the brain teasers that make us think a little bit.
Yeah.
I love it. Thanks for doing this.
Can I add one thing?
No, we're done. Yes, please do.
I was gonna say if you want, you can chop it and move it. But watches too. My entire life, I always wanted the GoldenEye watch, and then once I got it, I was like, "This is incredible! It's my favorite thing ever." I've got a few more now, a couple vintage. I've got the Planet Ocean. All of a sudden, like even just when it comes to buying Omegas, I'm not like looking at watches every day.
Right.
It's not like, oh, I've bought one, I need another one, I need another one. It's like I've got it. Now let's wear it. Let's use it. Let's incorporate it into life. And
Yeah. I feel like we had come to such a large and satisfactory ending with the whole experience thing.
know.
And then you took it backwards to an item of a watch.
you should just chop
And now
it.
but the video seems a little out of order now. And I'm not going to change a thing because this is beautiful. These natural
I didn't know we were
moments
ending
between
it,
friends.
but it has been like 20 minutes. Time flies when you're having
God,
fun,
this is
people.
soft. All right, Luke, you got to get out of here. And in the meantime, this has been David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Bye. We'll see you real soon. Take care. Don't touch. Thanks for watching this episode. If you want to be up on the latest from the Bond Experience, just click on this subscribe and subscribe to our channel. You're going to get all the latest and greatest information, plus some exclusive content. And by the way, speaking of content, here's something especially for you, just because we know you. Talk to you soon.